I like going hunting, just me, my hound, and my gun. Chasing them deer, rabbit, and squirrel, now that's my kind of fun. I like going fishing too, I'll go on any whim, looking for the big bass, the crappie, and the brim. Give me a wide open field to walk through. Give me an ocean so deep. I wanna ride the longest river in the world, or maybe climb the highest mountain peak.
Folks, we're over at Logan Martin Lake, a little afternoon fishing with my good friend, fishing buddy Willard Isbell from over around Leeds. And hey, Willard, this is one of your favorite lakes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a little old white crappie there.
No, that's a black one.
That's a black.
See them lines running long ways like that? Willard, what you got in store for us today? What kind of setup we gonna do on these crappies, and where we gonna fish at?
Well, we're gonna try to see if we can't find some of these big crappie in here now. These blacks is moving in pretty close to the bank now.
Now you was telling me coming up here that the black crappie, when the water warms on up, will come on up on the banks, right?
Yeah, they'll get right on the bank.
And the white ones won't?
Well, they'll get up there close, but they won't get like the blacks. A lot of times those blacks, they'll get in a foot of water. I've caught them in a foot of water. Just as soon as the jig hits the water, he'll get it.
All right, well, what kind of jigs are we mostly going to use today, and or curly tails, or whatever we're going to do?
Yeah, we got these curly tails, and we got some of these little homemade jigs like I make, and I believe we're going to catch them maybe on both of them. I started off with one of these like I make here, but we ain't got two of these curly tails yet. When we get to them, they might just eat that thing up.
All right, well, now, you know, you called me, you told me you thought fishing's going to be good, and so we're going to get out. Is afternoon fishing better than morning fishing, or what's the story on it over here?
I was over here yesterday afternoon, and I did real well, and I thought that we might get enough to show these people, you know, what afternoon fishing is after work.
Okay, now, what are we mostly going to fish, rock structures or treetops?
Well, we're going to fish mostly treetops right now and stumps, you know, close to the bank, and because this water's warming on up now. It's showing about 57 degrees. And if that thing gets on up there, you know, I'd say in the next few days, 62 to 65 degrees, I believe anybody can come over here and catch these fish.
Just using most anything, right?
Just whatever you throw in there on them.
Well, which one of your favorite lures you want me to start off on? I done had mine stuck on the bottom I started with. What you think we ought to start off with first, Willard? I know you caught that one on that same thing you gave me, which is what do you call it, strawberry jig?
Yeah, a little strawberry head. I'm using what I call the bee here.
The bee?
Yeah.
All right,
a little old black and yellow jig, and I think if you throw that one you got on there, I believe it'll hit that one.
Well, it's kind of one of a. You was telling me that you use certain colors early in the morning, certain colors in the middle of the day, and certain colors on around. Is this a middle of the day jig right here?
Well, yeah, it's getting towards the afternoon here, and I think that one there, it'll work. If you get it in front of him, he'll grab it.
I see. All right. Well, what you want to do? You want to fish right in this place we just pulled up on, or?
Well, I found that little one in there. You know, he's got to have daddy in there somewhere.
I got you. Okay. Well, I'll just chunk in here a little while. Let's see what we can come up with.
All right.
Now, Willard, I noticed that you don't never like to fish straight into the bank.
No, I like to come down on one of them ledges there. I like to come down it on an angle. The reason for coming down on an angle like that is you covered more area, you know. If you throw it right straight in, you know, fish is 4 or 5 feet away. A crappie's not going to move that far after a bait. And by coming down at an angle there, you pull it right by one, you know. That's my theory on it.
Well, now, you know, you've caught an awful lot of fish up here and a lot of places. You won quite a few tournaments too, haven't you, Willard?
Yeah, in the last 3 tournaments, I took first place in 2 of them and took big fish in the last one.
In the last one. So you covered it pretty good, didn't you?
Yeah, and the one that I took big fish in, I got 22.01 weight on that. At a lake that I never fished before.
I see. Well, now, basically what you're saying about these crappies, you've got to present this lure close to him and make him want it, right?
Well, normally a crappie won't go up or down a foot after a bait unless he's already in pursuit of it. I mean, if he's not already after it, you drag it over him 2 foot, he won't come after it.
He's just lazy on his feeding habits, ain't he?
You just about got to scratch his nose.
And that's why that your jig and curly tail system is works so good. Now you said that sometimes you use the curly tails and sometimes you use the jigs. How about telling me the difference in when you use what?
Well, when I like to use the curly tail, it's when those crappie get on the banks in the stumps.
I see.
Now, when they get in them stumps, I like a curly tail. But like fishing on these ledges here like this, I like a jig. Because I can slow that jig down slower than a curly tail.
Now, Willard, I've noticed you've got an unusual casting style. And I see you can throw that, now you're using a casting reel, and you can throw a casting reel further than most folks can throw an open face spinning reel. And apparently you've developed a technique. I just wonder if you might share with us how you're able to take a casting reel with 14-pound test line on it and outcast a spinning reel man with 6 and 8 pound test.
Well, the only thing I can say is I think it's just from a lot of practice and determination. Because I found out with this casting reel, it's more sensitive than a spinning reel is. And whatever you can fish with, it's got a lot of sensitivity in it, you can catch fish. Because I don't like a limber rod. I like my rod real stiff.
Even for crappies?
Right, for crappie. When he hits it, it's like a lot of people think I jerk too hard, but when I stick one, he comes to the boat.
I see. Well, what about, show them how you're able to do this. Show us how you're able to just pitch something that you normally couldn't throw 10 or 15 feet with these little old light jigs on through it. That's the most astounding thing I've ever seen you do.
All right, this little jig right here, it weighs about a 1/32, or maybe it's not more than a 16th. And I got a 14-pound test line here. Now what I try to do, I'm not throwing this jig. I'm just trying to like fly line this line. I'm lobbing the jig and just like fly lining it.
So you got a hybrid halfway between a cast and a fly fishing, right?
Right.
All right, show them one more time what happens now. You go way back and you point it, right?
Right.
Take a full arm's length to do that, don't you?
Yeah, I just come like kind of over my head there, and I'm just, wherever I want to throw it, I'm just pointing the rod that way.
Well, it sure will go on out there.
It's paid off for me in the past, I guarantee you it has. Putting that jig where you want it, because if you can't put it where you want it, you can't catch fish.
I've noticed that when we fished before, Willard, my normal inclination when we pull up to one of these treetops is to fish in closer than you ever will put me. I feel like I ain't never reaching where the fish are, but you got a reason for that. And what is your reason for that, Willard?
Well, when you get in there real close like that, and especially fishing a treetop, if you get in real close on it, and you hang them limbs, you know, and just shake it there, it's got a tendency to just scare the fish out of there for a while. And when you're back here, if you can hang that limb and just take your hand and pull your line loose instead of just shaking that limb, they don't pay as much attention to it. But when you're sitting right over that treetop, they can see the shadow from this boat and they know something's wrong. That's my impression of it.
Willard's got some of the most unusual setups. I thought when you went crappie fishing, you just got you some curly tails or jigs and went on, but he's got them all sizes and styles and everything that he's got a reason for every one of them. And I'm gonna let Willard, if you will, lay them out and explain to you why he uses the different weights and sizes and where he uses them and the different types and colors of jigs and when and where he uses those.
Okay, I've got 3 different sizes right here. I got this is somewhere around a 32nd grub head. It just goes on up there to about an 1/8. And these real small ones I try to use in the treetops and stumps and whatever. And as the water gets deeper, you just step it up a notch, make it a little bit heavier. And I like to use these different color tails on it, these little curly tails here. And I like different colors in the grub heads.
All right, now tell us when you'd want a red head.
Well, in the month of March and April, redhead's always good. I don't care if the water's clear, if it's muddy or what have you, they will hit a red-headed jig. And then on the other hand, you can turn right around and put a black-headed jig on there and they'll hit one of those. It's just according to the situation, what the fish wants at that time.
I see. And what, you got 2 colors of curly tails you like?
Well, really, I like yellow, white, and the chartreuse color, and I like the chartreuse and the transparent green and also the sparkle green. When you got a nice sunshiny afternoon like we got now, I like this sparkly chartreuse.
And Willard, on those 3 head sizes, I about figured this thing out because I fished with you so much, you've explained it to me. And this is something that's real hard for me to understand at first. Let's say there's a treetop out there that's 10 or 12 feet deep. And you want to let that thing drop, so you'll have a tendency to use a little bit bigger jig and get it on down. But you're saying to me that you want a light jig so that it'll tiptoe through those jigs. Just kind of thump, thump, up and down. And whenever it hits a limb, you want to just ease it off if you can and let it fall, because that crappie's going to grab it, isn't it?
That's when he'll hit it.
I notice that a lot of times when you get hung, you just try to finesse that thing off, because usually you'll get one right there on the drop, isn't it?
Just as soon as it falls on the other side of the limb, he'll pop it if he's there.
All right. Well, I notice you got your tackle box and you got the neatest little arrangement for your jigs and the different colors. How about going over how you got them fixed for you? And of course, you make all your own jig heads and all to suit yourself, don't you?
That's right.
And you fix your jigs and all because that's the way you want them, right?
That's the way I want them. When I look in that tackle box, I know what I'm looking for is at.
All right, well, show us, if you would, Willard, the different things you tie your jigs with and which color you like at certain times.
Like this jig right here, this is kind of a light orange jig here. It does real well on a sunny day like this. In fact, I may be throwing this one in a little bit here.
I see.
And you want to know about the packaging here. Well, what I do is I get me some of this polyethylene. And I try to get it in about a 4 or 6 mil size. And when you roll that thing up, see, it makes that bag real stiff. And if I don't want to use this jig for, say, around a year from now, it's still preserved just like it is.
And you got a staple on each end, haven't you?
Staple it on each end, and I got it rolled tight, and it's in that bag tight. You can see how straight it is in there. And 1 year from now, it'll look the same way.
I see. Well, what about your other colors? What's some of them others are your favorite colors?
Well, I got one of my favorites here, what I call the bee. This is a black and a yellow one.
Uh-huh.
All right. Then here's a marabou jig. This is a chartreuse green and marabou with a white head on it, which does real well. Got solid white with a yellow head on it. This is what I call the Crappie, which is like a maroon-like color, what I call it. But I call it a Crappie. They'll get on that one too. Then you got this old standby, solid white with the marabou feathers on it.
And when do you use a solid white now?
A solid white is good anytime.
Anytime, no worries.
Anytime, it don't matter.
It's just a good all-around fish catching type lure.
White jig always be in my box.
Now you was telling me that on several trips this last week or two, you get in a treetop and just go to catching spotted bass out there like crazy on some of these jigs, right?
Them spots that jump on that jig just fast you can throw it in there and you can't catch crappie for them because they won't let the jig sink to the crappie.
In other words, they come after it. They're a pursuit fish, where a crappie, you got to lay it on his dinner table, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to put it right in front of him. That bass, that spot, he'll come up there and get that jig for it and get down there.
Oh, yeah.
Hadn't you noticed in the past there when we pull up to these tops, you know, about the first or second cast, you throw it in there, he'll grab that thing if he's in there.
Willard, there he is.
Yeah, you got right on that little old limb there. Man, I see a strawberry sticking out of his
Yeah,
mouth.
that's that white one you just gave me after I watched you catch 3 or 4 on me. Yeah, come on up here, crappie. Willard, you said it was right there at that treetop. What?
Yeah.
Now, that's kind of a little one there, Willard.
Yeah.
But he still done it, didn't he?
Yeah, that's good cooking size right there.
That's your yellow jacket you got on there.
Yeah, that's that bumblebee.
Bumblebee, I mean, yellow jacket. What they about to say?
That's that little black too.
Sure is. He was right in there, wasn't he?
Yep. Look what he done to my jig.
Push that hair slap up the... Now, when they hit like that, that's the way you always know, isn't it, Willard?
Yeah, he'll do it that way when he hits and you miss him.
Uh-huh.
But you know that one there, he got somebody that brought him in this world down there, and that's the one I'm be wanting.
I got you.
Get that thing straightened out there. See if we can get one of them big ones on there.
Yeah, that's what we're after.
Uh-oh. I got away from the tree. Maybe there's one over there, though.
Got a double. Mine ain't all that big, I don't
Mine's
think.
pretty good in here.
Now, mine's one of them, just a small one here.
I got.
Yeah, you got me beat on that.
I got the one you want
Yeah,
there.
you got the one. I got hung, Willard, and dropped him right over the side there, you know.
Yeah.
As soon as it come off that limb, that there nailed it. I mean, nailed it.
Man, these is all black crappie, Archie.
Every one of them are.
Every one of them. That's nice cooking crappie there.
You're going to drop one across one of them limbs in a minute. One of them mama roos going to reach over.
Oh, yeah, we get this one's mama.
We'll kind of get warmed up on these little ones.
Yeah, this just break them monotony.
There you go.
But they mess these jigs up. I mean, something awful. They really want them, you know.
How about pass me another one of them curly tails? The one done eat this one's about up down
All
here.
right, what color you want?
Well, I done pretty good on that old chartreuse one.
All right, let me get you one.
Right where you said he would, what it will.
Right in between them trees there.
I tell you, that fancy throwing deal you got about 15 yards on me, Willard.
That's a pretty good crappie, too.
Yeah, now he was on out a little further though, wasn't he?
No, he was right in there, right where the limb crosses. That's another black, Archie.
Yeah, but I can't get that far.
I'll probably have to pull you in a little closer.
Might have
See,
to.
them just good hand-sized crappie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that'd stink up a skillet good, won't it?
Yeah, I believe we can do that with a
I
biscuit.
guarantee you. That seemed like to be a pretty hot little old tree right there.
Yeah, there's one or two on there now.
Willard, we've had a pretty good day of crappie fishing. Now, that ain't no bad bunch of crappies right there. Let's just pitch them right up here on the dock. Yeah. Yeah, that's some good doings there. We got several pretty good ones in there. We got some little ones, but we got several pretty nice ones in there. Look at that old devil right there. That's pretty good. That's pretty good in there. That's a nice stringer. Look at that one right there. That's a fine one. We've got about, what would you say, 4 or 5 over 2? Pound and 3/4 to 2? That's a big one right there. Look at that big devil right there. Look at that. That's some fine doings. Well, Willard, I've enjoyed every minute of it, and we go get us some ice and get them things iced down and take them home, clean them up. We'll have some good eating tonight. And I want all you folks to know I've been fishing with a champ from down here at Logan Martin, and he's always been able to take us out there and take you folks along with him and give you those special little tips and hints that makes for good fishing on any place you go to do crappie. And this method will work about most anywhere, won't it, Willard?
Yeah, you can catch them pretty well the same way, just about anywhere you go.
Good. Well, listen, I've enjoyed it, and y'all folks stay tuned again next week for some more Outdoors with Archie Phillips.